Hello, all. Hello, all. Sorry, just testing to make sure that I've got everything working right. This is Sister. Hope you're having a good morning. Sorry that this is being done at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have a very rowdy family and things get a little noisy around here. So I was picking a time that I would be by myself and things would be quiet. I'm doing these live streams to bring to light the classes and their abilities. This is to coincide with the Final Fantasy Dungeons for Dummies. So I am doing this, and I'm going to call this series Final Fantasy XIV Classes for Dummies. Now, I'm starting out with the class that I started with to begin with the dungeons. I'm starting with Paladin. And this class is a fairly simple class, if you get the hang of it. And it's actually a very enjoyable and addictive class. Now, I am here at my company house, because we have some striking dummies here to go with showing you the combinations of abilities you can put together to be as good a tank as you possibly can. Now, I am by no means an expert, and I don't consider myself the best of players. However, my company thinks that I pretty much am. There was only one other player I know of besides me that could do better in our company, and unfortunately he is no longer with us. But I'm going to do the best I can. So I'm going to start with just going over the class information, the abilities. So we're going to go into our menu, and we're going to go actions and traits, and we're going to go all the way to actions, and here we are. Now, when this game first came out, we have what's known as classes and then jobs. Now, originally, when you wanted to become a paladin, you had to do not only gladiator to level 30, you had to get your white mage up to level 30, and then the classes would overlap. Now, you don't have that problem. You can start as gladiator. When you hit level 30, there is a job quest, story quest that you'd have to do, and it gives you what's known as the Soul Stone, and it will make it to where you can use the paladin abilities. Now, starting here, we're going to start at level 1. Level 1 is Fast Blade. This is the first of your aggroing combo. Delivers an attack with a potency of 200. And this will be the first ability you would use to grab aggro. Or shall we say, make the monsters mad at you and not mad at the DPS or healers. Next, at level 2, is Fight or Flight. Increases damage dealt by 25%. So you can use this to increase your damage dealt, because tanks and healers aren't supposed to do a boatload of damage, they're supposed to be able to just do their jobs, which is tanks is to take the enemies and keep them off of healers and DPS. Healers are not supposed to be doing damage, a lot of damage, they're supposed to be healing. So that's the whole point. Now, at level 4, we go up a notch. This is your second of your aggroing of the enemies. Now, the Fast Blade and the Riot Blade, these combos are used on single enemies. Now, if you're doing a low-level dungeon or things of that nature, you normally would have just stuck with the Fast Blade and the Riot Blade. They didn't have the next one, which was Total Eclipse. But let's continue with this one first. Riot Blade delivers an attack with a potency of 140. Combo action Fast Blade. Combo potency 300 and combo bonus restores MP, which for Paladin is definitely necessary. Total Eclipse. Now this is at level 6. Delivers an attack with a potency of 100 to all nearby enemies. Now this is when you go and you pull a bunch of mobs. This is your aggroing ability. So you definitely want to have that on your hotbar. Shield Bash at level 10. I don't often use this one. Because it doesn't do a whole lot. Back when you were level 10, it does. It stuns your enemies, delivers an attack with a potency of 100, additional effect of stun. But I do not keep that on my hotbar anymore. Mind you, I'm level 90. Because it doesn't really do a whole lot. It stuns an enemy. It does not interrupt their attack. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I can use this to interrupt their attack, no, it does not work that way. So I don't normally keep that on my hotbar. Also at level 10 is Iron Will. Now this you will want on your hotbar. I recommend if you use secondary hotbars, if you're using a console. I recommend leaving it on your secondary hotbar because you can accidentally undo this. This is your tank stance. As even it says at the bottom there, significantly increases enmity generation effect ends upon reuse. In other words, you put this on, it stays on throughout the dungeon. If you hit the button again, it takes it off, which means it will end up, the aggro will end up on somebody else, which is something you do not want. Now in raids, or 24-man raids, or the extreme trials, this is debatable whether or not you're going to use it or not, depending on if you're main tank or off tank. If you are off tank and the main tank dies, you're going to want this on. So keep that in mind. Now, Shield Lob. I love this ability. I put this on my main hotbar. Say you're from a distance and you see enemies ahead of you, but you can't get to them faster. So you throw your shield and it grabs the monster. It gets their attention. So this is a very important ability right here. Delivers a ranged attack with a potency of 100. Additional effect increases enmity, meaning it increases them being mad at you. That is at level 15. That is a lovely ability. So I always make sure to keep that on my main hotbar. At level 26, here is the third of your aggro combo. These I usually use on single enemies. The aggro combo, I usually do it on single enemies because you will often use Total Eclipse for multiple enemies. This one here, Rage of Halone, you get it at level 26. delivers an attack with a potency of 100. Combo action is Riot Blade, which you have here, which says combo action Fast Blade. So when you're looking at your hotbar, you're going to see when you do Fast Blade, then Riot Blade's going to light up, and then Rage of Halon. Combo potency 330. So you have Fast Blade, Riot Blade, Rage of Halon. Next, at level 38, is what we call a cooldown. This one is called Sentinel. Reduces damage taken by 30%. Duration is 15 seconds. This I use when there's going to be a tank buster. When you see them, the enemy winding up for a big hit, I put that on. Next, at level 50, this is Circle of Scorn. This is another thing much like Total Eclipse. Delivers an attack with a potency of 120 to all nearby enemies. Additional effect, damage over time. And it leaves a dot on all of the enemies that you've hit it with. Potency of 30, duration of 15 seconds. Now, I don't just use this on groups of enemies. I use this on single enemies as well because it continues to do damage over time. Next, you have at level 30. Now, if you'll notice, we go from 50 to 30, and you're kind of going, what? That don't make sense. Keep in mind, classes. Originally, we had classes. This was gladiator abilities. This is what you had before you could have job. So, at level 30, which would have been just before Sentinel, and right after Rage of Halon, you would get Spirit Within because you would turn into a paladin at this point. Thus the difference in the job icon. You've got the crossed swords for gladiator, a shield for paladin. So we're going to go with the paladin abilities now, and that's just what you're going to keep with and all the way through level 90. Delivers an attack with a potency of 270. Additional effect, restores MP. This is a one-hit ability. I do keep it on my hotbar, though it is not a necessary one. Next, at level 35, is Sheltron. Now this is a cooldown. This uses your gauge bar, which I will explain in a minute. So you'll want to have that. That is a shield. That's what we call a cooldown for Paladin. It's very helpful when you see enemies coming at you and they've got an ability ready to roll. Make sure that you put that on. Next, at level 40, we have our combo action here. Starts with Total Eclipse and ends with Prominence. Prominence is level 40, delivers an attack with a potency of 100 to all nearby enemies. Combo action, Total Eclipse. Combo potency, 170. Combo bonus, restores MP. Combo bonus grants Divine Might. Divine Might effect allows next Holy Spirit, which I really prefer not to call it that, but that's what it is, or Holy Circle to be cast immediately with increased potency, duration 30 seconds. Now, we will get to those in a minute because those are higher level abilities, but when you want to get a lot of enemies after you've run up to seen them, thrown shield lob, they come running at you, you start Total Eclipse, then Prominence. Next is Cover at level 45. Take all damage intended for another party member as long as said member remains within 10 yalms. I'm not exactly sure what Final Fantasy XIV calls yalms, but you'll see a line between you and who you attach this to. Does not activate with certain attacks. Next, this is everyone's favorite, is Hallowed Ground. This is your invuln. This makes you invulnerable for 10 seconds. So say you're in a dungeon, you've grabbed a whole bunch of enemies, your hit points are getting low, very dangerously low, and the healer cannot catch up with it fast enough. You pop this, it gives them 10 seconds to catch up. Mind you, it has a recast timer of basically 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So you're going to want to make sure that you don't need it for something sooner. Next, at level 52, we have Bulwark. Now this ability, I very much love it, and the reason I do is much like Hallowed Ground, when you get a whole bunch of enemies on you, pop this, because it blocks incoming attacks. This is when you've got a bunch of enemies, it decreases the amount of damage you take so that the healer does not have to try and keep you up as long as you think you need to be up. Goring Blade delivers an attack with a potency of 700. This weapon skill does not share a recast timer with any other action. Now, originally Goring Blade used to leave a dot or damage over time. It does not anymore. This is just a plain old, I'm going to hit you with my sword. So that's all that is. At level 56, Divine Veil. Now, this is a wonderful ability. Now, most tanks have only one ability that defends against your party against attacks. Paladin has two. Divine Veil is one. Now, you used to put this on your character, and then use Clemency, and it would cause the shield to go over everybody. However, now it just, when you use it, it goes over everybody. So, creates a barrier around self and all party members near you that absorbs damage equivalent to 10% of your maximum HP. Duration 30 seconds. Additional effect restores target's hit point, cure potency of 400. So, as it gets hit, it's also got a healing effect. And you get this at level 56. Now, at level 58 is Clemency. Now, Paladin doesn't have a whole lot of, shall we say, cooldown, defensive cooldowns. So Clemency is a curing ability that is given to the Paladins to kind of offset their lack of cooldowns. This one restores target HP, which means you can heal other people, which is quite nice when you need to cure in raids and trials where you need to cure your main tank. Just to help out. Cure potency of 1,000. Additional effect restores to self 50% of hit points restored to target if target is a party member. Next we have at level 60, Royal Authority. Delivers an attack with a potency of 140. Combo action Riot Blade. Combo potency 400. Combo bonus grants 3 stacks of Sword Oath. Now, because of the way we do things, we have our combo action. This will replace, if I'm correct, believe I'm correct, it will replace Fast Blade. So you will have Royal Authority over top of Fast Blade. Grants 3 stacks of Sword Oath. Duration 30 seconds. Combo bonus grants Divine Might. Divine Might effect allows next, again, Holy Spirit or Holy Circle to be cast immediately with increased potency. Duration 30 seconds. Next, we have at level 62, Intervention. Now, this I have not used very often. I haven't gotten the hang of it very well. I have a lot of difficulty trying to do it in the middle of battle because there's a whole lot going on. But reduces target party members' damage taken by 10%. In other words, you put this on another, you can't put it on yourself, you have to put it on a party member. Additional effect increases damage reduced by an additional 10%. If, and here's where my problem is if Rampart or Sentinel are active. Usually when I have those on, I'm not paying attention too much to remember to make sure this goes on a party member. However, I really should, and I need to take more time to do that myself. Additional effect grants Knight's Resolve to target. Knight's Resolve's effect reduces damage taken by 10%. This would be good on a main tank or a healer in your party, or a DPS that's, shall we say, gotten a little trigger happy and decided to go ahead and attack enemies before you got there. Additional effect grants Knight's Benediction to target. Knight's Benediction's effect is gradually restores HP. Cure potency of 250, duration 12 seconds. Oath gauge cost 50. Again, oath gauge, we will discuss that in a second. Next, we have Holy Spirit. Yes, this is the one I'm not liking to talk about the way it's said. I do have my beliefs, but I will stick with what they've got for the moment. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 350. Now this is what we call a magic attack. It's also, surprisingly enough, a distance attack. For paladins and for tanks, that's unusual. Divine Might potency of 450. Requicast potency of 650. So if you have Requicast on, which I recommend you use, however, this is before the Confiteor combo, so you would use this if you don't have the Confiteor combo yet. You would use Requicast and then Holy Spirit or Holy Circle. The effect of Divine Might will be prioritized over Requicast when under the effect of both. Additional effect restores own hit points. Cure potency of 400. The reason I say this is before you get the Confiteor abilities is because this is actually quite nice. But when you get the Confiteor combo, you're going to want to use Requicast for that ability, not for the Holy Spirit or Holy Circle. Next, at level 68, we have Requicast. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 300. Additional effect grants 4 stacks of Requicast. In other words, you have that, then you would use 4 Holy Spirits. In other words, this ability, Holy Spirit or Holy Circle, will not have a cast timer. It will be instant instead of just having a cast timer. A Requicast effect increases the potency of Holy Spirit, Holy Circle, and all Confiteor combo actions and spells. Will require no cast time. Additional effect grants Confiteor Ready. And that's what I will discuss in just a minute. At level 70, we have Passage of Arms. Again, much like Divine Veil, this one shields all your party members if they are behind you. So when you go to cast this, make sure your company or your party is behind you, or that they know that you're going to use it so they get behind you. Increases block rate to 100% and and creates a designated area in a cone behind you in which party members will only suffer 85% of all damage inflicted. Duration 18 seconds. Effect ends upon using another action or moving. In other words, don't move, including facing a different direction. Cancels auto attack upon execution. So, excuse me. So don't move and don't start another ability while you've got this on. Next, at level 72, we have Holy Circle. Deals unexpected damage with a potency of 100 to all nearby enemies. Divine Might potency of 200. Requicast potency of 300. The effect of Divine Might will be prioritized over Requicast when under the effect of both. Again, we go back to Requicast. That gives us our 4 stacks. We can use Holy Circle 4 times, instacast. Additional effect restores own HP and cure potency of 400. Now, when you do these, you're looking at them, what's the difference? This one, Holy Spirit, is against one enemy. Holy Circle is against a group of mobs. So, if you're in the middle of pulling, you can use this. This will be good against other groups of enemies. Next, at level 74, we finally have our jump in. Now, much like Shield Lob, we can do this from a distance. Rushes targets and delivers an attack with a potency of 150. This brings you into the fight instead of you standing on the outside and running in. Maximum charges, you get 2. They do have a quick recast. The charge time is 30 seconds. So this should not be a difficult situation for you. This is where you see where you see your bunch of mobs, you can jump in. This is also, oh, I see an AoE underneath me. You get out, and then you use this to jump back in. Cannot be executed while bound, meaning if you are stuck somewhere or they use a chain on you, you cannot use intervene. Next we have, at level 76, Atonement. Now, when you do your combo of Royal Authority, Riot Blade, and your third combo, this will appear. You'll get stacks of these. Delivers an attack with a potency of 400. Additional effect restores MP. Can only be executed while under the effect of Sword Oath. Sword Oath is part of your Royal Authority combo. So this you can use to get back your MP, which again, Paladins, they suck it up. Now, we are going to move on to everyone's favorite. Now, this is the beginning of the Confiteor combo. This, you have to have Requicast available to use. Deals unexpected damage to target and all nearby. It with a potency of 400 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Requicast potency of 90. Additional effect restores own HP. Cure potency of 400. Can only be executed while under the effect of Confiteor ready. Effect fades upon execution. So you would use Requicast and then you use Confiteor at level 80. Level 82, we get Holy Sheltron. Now, we had Sheltron to begin with. This one makes it Holy Sheltron. Reduces damage taken. Again, this is a cooldown. Duration 8 seconds. Additional effect grants Knight's Resolve. Knight's Resolve effect reduces damage taken by 15%. Duration of 4 seconds. Additional effect grants Knight's Benediction. Knight's Benediction effect gradually restores HP. Cure potency of 250. Duration of 12 seconds. Oath gauge cost 50%. Next, at 86, we have Expication. Delivers an attack to target and all nearby enemies with a potency of 450 for the first enemy and 60% less for all remaining enemies. This also restores your MP. This is a standalone by itself attack. And that is the level 86. Now we're going to get down to our final one at final group of attacks at level 90. You get all three of these at level 90. When you do Confiteor, it gives you the ability of Blade of Faith. Deals unexpected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 200 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Requicast potency of 700. Combo action Confiteor. Additional effect restores own HP and cure potency of 400. So you're in a group a pull. Use this ability if at all possible. This is great. It does not only a lot of damage to multiple enemies, it also brings back your HP and your MP. Blade of Truth. This is part of that combo. Deals unexpected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 300 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Requicast potency of 800. Combo action Blade of Faith. Additional effect restores own HP and cure potency of 400. These cannot be assigned to hotbars. What will happen is you will get Confiteor, you use it, it will then turn to Blade of Faith, then Blade of Truth, and the final one, Blade of Valor. Deals unexpected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 400 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Requicast potency 900, combo action Blade of Truth, additional effect restores own HP, and cure potency of 400. Now, we have looked at all of that. There is the role abilities. Now, these are abilities that all tank classes are allowed to use. These have some cooldowns, and some are just extra abilities. We have Rampart. Reduces damage taken by 20%. This is necessary on your hotbar. Low Blow, I don't keep it on there. It is a stunning attack. It doesn't do much. It's not worth the hotbar space unless you've got it and you want to use it. Feel free. This is required on your hotbar. Provoke. Gesture threateningly, placing yourself at the top of the target's enmity list while gaining additional enmity. This is you make them angry. Make sure you have this on your hotbar. It is a necessity. Interject is also a necessity. This interrupts the use of a target's actions. This is only when you see their ability bar flashing. It will interrupt that ability that is being used. Reprisal is also necessary. This is also a cooldown. Reduces damage dealt by nearby enemies by 10%. This is used on groups of mobs. Make sure you have it. Arm's Length, you can use it if you think it's necessary. This is basically your knockback ability. This creates a barrier nullifying most knockbacks and draw-in effects. This keeps you from being knocked back or drawn in, but you have to hit it at just the right point. If you don't, it's useless. So you really have to check your timing on those. And lastly is Shirk. Now this ability was something that people used to for main tanks and off tanks to shirk the enmity to the other tank, to say they got hit by 2 tank busters and they need a break to keep the healer from letting them die, they would shirk the enmity to the other tank and back and forth. Most people don't even use this these days unless they want to be annoying and shirk it to a DPS or a healer. Most of the time, if you are an off tank, you just keep your tank stance on, and when things happen, you use your provoke. Grabs all enemies. Now, with that done, I'm going to show you how to use these abilities. Now, also up here, I'm going to show this to you right here. This is your gauge bar. Make sure I have the right thing on here. It will have it where it all starts to go together. Now, we're going to start with our striking dummy, and we're going to start with, Fast Blade, Riot Blade, Royal Authority. Now, if you'll notice up here, I have Holy Circle and Holy Spirit, and I also have Sort of. So we can now freely use that. We do the combo again. We can now use Holy Circle Instacast. That gets everybody's attention. Now, if you're doing it in groups, keep in mind, Circle of Scorn. That is necessary for getting all enemy enmities. We also have Total Eclipse and Prominence. Now, we've done those. Now, in most cases, if you're doing fighting mobs, you just keep up with this. And in those mob fights, you will want to use Bulwark. In the in-between, you can hit with that. That is Expectation. I believe that's how it's pronounced anyway. And in between, you can be hitting them with Holy Spirit or Holy Circle. If you need to, for more, shall we say, shielding, there you go, is your Holy Sheltron. And of course, keep up your Circle of Scorn. You also have your Rampart and your Sentinel if an enemy is going to do a big attack. Now, you'll notice as I'm doing this, I'll have my stack of Atonement. Now, if you want to use Atonement to get back your hit points, not your hit points, sorry, your MP, it gives you 3 of them. You can do that to get back your MP. Now, as you look at your gauge, you're going to want to use, say you want to use Sheltron. It eats up 50% of that bar. Easiest ways to get it back is to use your either large scale enmity ability that you use against multiple enemies, or your single enemy combo. It fills up that bar. Now, we also have, when we do this, we have Requicast. This is also Passage of Arms. This is what it looks like. This is why you want to make sure people are behind you, so that you can see. When you move it, it goes away. Now we're going to use Requicast. And that is going to give you Confiteor Ready, which you use Confiteor, then Blade of Faith, Blade of Valor, and Blade of Truth. Those are your big attacks that you'll have. Now you can put cover on someone. If you notice, it doesn't say invalid target. That's because there's no one here for me to put it on. Same with intervene, invalid target. We also have, say we backed up here and we want to jump in. Here we go with intervene. That's how that works. Shield lob, same way. You're at a distance, it grabs enemy ability. Now, another one of the cooldowns that is good for everybody, Divine Veil. All the while you will keep up with your Circle of Scorn. Another cooldown, Reprisal. Cooldown of Rampart, Sentinel, and Bulwark. So this class is a fairly, shall we say, rounded class, well-rounded in the fact of it can pretty much do all of the different things that DPS and healers can do. Say your hit points are low. Here's Clemency. That did 20,628 healing to my character. There's Interject. That interrupts a enemy's abilities. And of course, Hallowed Ground. No one can do any damage to me for the next 15 seconds. So I can do my combo of Fast Blade, Riot Blade, and Royal Authority. Then use Atonement. Get my MP back. And I can use Holy Spirit. Or once I've done the combo again, I can do Holy Circle, which hits all enemies. Now, I recommend before you go into a dungeon with a group of people, I would... Oh, I gotta fix this. I would go in with the duty support system. Now you can do this in any of the expansions or in a Realm Reborn. I seriously would go in with them because then you can test your abilities and you can play around with this and set up however you want to, however you feel that it's works for you, so that when you get into a real dungeon, you're able to not only hold your own, but help out your team. So I would highly recommend going into those dungeons with your duty support group, just so that it's a better chance of testing out your abilities, making sure everything is on your hotbar the way you want it, and is easily found and easily done. Now, if you see the way my hotbar is set up, I have my main stuff on that I use, and if I have my off abilities, they're on my secondary hotbar. You can put this however you want, and I highly recommend setting up all your tanks in pretty much the same way. It doesn't have to be set up on the way mine is, but when you set up your paladin for your main hotbar, for main aggroing, getting the enmity of the enemies, you pretty much set up your warrior, your Dark Knight, your Gunbreaker the same way. because you're going to get into a habit of hitting certain buttons, and it will make it that much easier for you if you have those abilities readily available in the same positioning. So I hope this has been something of a help. My schedule, I have narrowed it down to, is I put out my Final Fantasy XIV Dungeons for Dummies on Wednesdays on YouTube, and on Fridays at 6 o'clock in the morning I will be doing a live stream for each of the classes, so that you can see how each of the classes runs and how they are done and how I have it set up. Again, I'm no expert, but I'm hoping this gives you something to go by, and that if you have missed this live stream, fear not. This afternoon, this will be uploaded to YouTube. So you can go to my YouTube channel of Zidster and find it there. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that anybody who has been watching has had a chance to look at it and see it. Like I said, fear not, it will be on YouTube and readily available for anyone and everyone to see. So, I hope you will have a good day, and see you next time.